This is my 90-gallon aquarium, and when I first set it up, I was scrutinized for my choices in the light and the filter. I got a lot of comments saying that my filter would eventually break down in like a month or two, and I also said that the light was going to be weak and it wasn't going to be strong enough to grow the plants in this aquarium. But after 2 years, the filter and light have kept up and has made this aquarium just look beautiful. So saving money, especially in the aquarium hobby, has always been a big thing that I've focused on. I always like to search around and try finding the best deals and figuring out what will work best in my own fish tanks. And this is my 90-gallon aquarium, and the equipment in here has honestly been amazing, and it's lasted over 2 years. So let's talk about it. The light that I'm running is a Beamswork LED light, and this light was super cheap. I think it was only like $50, and I know for some people that might be a lot, but in the aquarium hobby, that's very affordable for an aquarium light. And it has been able to grow and keep these plants super healthy. The plants in this aquarium have fantastic root structures. Also, interesting fact, my sword plant over there has propagated, and usually when plants propagate, they're thriving, or at least in good conditions. And this aquarium had a sun canister filter running on it for about, I think, a year and a half, but I did replace it with the Fluval filter, and I only did that because I moved that sun canister filter to my 55-gallon aquarium. And that filter worked great, and I'll explain how you can make your filters last that long and how you can have good lighting and find the right one for your aquarium. And make sure you stay tuned to the end of this video where I can explain why betta fish are so popular in the aquarium hobby and so popular that they're in almost every pet store. When you go on Amazon, one of the top-rated aquarium lights is the Fluval 3.0 planted freshwater light. And the price tag for that is about $170, which is insane. And no digs at Fluva or JBJ or other higher-end aquarium companies. They've been around for so long and have really fine-tuned the aquarium hobby and also the plant-keeping hobby. But talking about that filter, it was pretty expensive, and it is about 3 times the price of the light that I have in my aquarium. So why is it that expensive, and why does it cost more than this $50 light, which is still growing my plants very well? Well, the truth is that light is meant for higher-end tanks and is meant for high-tech plants. So let's talk more about plants and why they require all that. Some aquarium plants tend to be very specific in their lighting requirements. Some of them require higher light, some of them require different spectrums of light, and also some require CO2, which is basically shooting in CO2 into the aquarium, and plants use that to help process the nutrients and the light. These plants are typically less popular with beginner aquarists and are not as popular in the hobby, but some people still do care for them, and I'm sure a lot of my viewers also keep some high-tech or higher-end plants. Personally, I like to keep lower-tech plants, which are super easy to maintain. This aquarium is just filled with those plants like Java fern, swords, some simple crypts, as well as some mosses, and they are super easy to take care of, and I really don't need to do that much maintenance. Every once in a while, I'll dose some liquid fertilizer in this aquarium and also prune a couple plants every once in a while, but I really don't need to do that in this fish tank, and that's what I really like to enjoy. That being said, there are thousands of aquarium keepers that do maintenance almost daily and have multiple lights running and different CO2 levels and different substrates that are super high end. But I'm not really as interested in that. One day, hopefully, I will have more aquariums like that, but because I have so many other fish tanks and so many other things that I have to maintain, that level of maintenance and that level of care is a little bit too high for me, and it's also somewhat difficult when I'm managing other jobs and college at the same time. That is why I don't have those high-tech aquariums. I do have CO2 and stuff, but I don't have it currently set up on any aquariums, but that is why more expensive equipment exists. And let's talk about that Fluval Light I was mentioning before. The Fluval Light offers a lot of features to an aquarium keeper. Some of the features include multiple spectrum controls, so you can control how much blue or red light is in the aquarium. You can also control the brightness depending on your tank size. You can also set timers, so the timers are built into the light. You can have your aquarium light turn on at different times. You can also have sunsets and sunrises, which are just awesome. Some people consider that overkill. Some others say that's a necessary thing for your aquarium. The features in my Beamswork Light come nowhere close to that. All it has is, I really don't do this, but it does have its off mode, and it does have a blue mode, and this is kind of like a nighttime cycle, so at night you can have your aquariums glowing, which is, I guess, really cool, but you have to manually do this, or you can buy an optional timer to do that. Personally, what I do is I buy a $5 or $10 little adapter that you can control with your phone, so I can use Siri or Google Home or Alexa Echo to control my aquarium lights, which I think is really awesome, and I can do that anywhere in the world. When it comes to filters, I do recommend getting a name brand filter. I did buy a sun canister, and I believe that is a Chinese company, company, and a lot of people said that that wouldn't be reliable. But because I did maintenance on it, although I did it like every couple months, when you're supposed to do it more frequently, the filter still did last a long time, and I still have it, but I disconnected it from my 55-gallon aquarium. I might use it in the future, but the filter worked very well. It had some cool features like a shutoff valve and multiple forms of filtration, and it was also very affordable. I think I got the whole filter for about $40 compared to some filters that cost $100 or a couple $100. So I really do like that, although I do have a Fluval filter currently running, and I think that ran me like $70 to $100, and it's working very well in this aquarium. As you can see, the water is like crystal clear, and I am testing. I do have like an acrylic sheet that I'm testing a lid. I need to build lids for all my aquariums. That's a new change I'm doing this year, so I might make a video about that. I don't know. Comment if you want to see a DIY aquarium lid down below. So that is why certain equipment may cost more. It's for higher end aquarists that are more experienced or have higher end plants or fish that require that. And I have very low maintenance aquariums, and that's why my lights can be more affordable or cheaper. Throughout my aquarium hobby, I think I've purchased 3 Beamswork lights. 2 of them still work, and one of them had an error. I started to flicker, which is kind of annoying. So I guess it's a hit or miss. Sometimes you might get a defective one, but for me, these 2 have worked very well, and the aquarium plants have been thriving. Now let's talk about economics. I did take an economics class this last semester, and I got an A-. I think it was an A-. So I think I'm qualified to talk about this. So we're gonna be talking about barrier of entry in the aquarium hobby. So if you've ever been curious why betta fish are so popular, it's because they're relatively cheap to get an entire setup for, and because they're a beautiful fish and a lot of people like them. So I hope I don't butcher the explanation of barrier for entry. So I'm basically gonna break it down and adapt it to the fish hobby as a whole. So let's say you're a first-time fish keeper and you're looking at aquariums, and let's say these cheaper brands like Sun or Beamswork didn't exist, and the only company available was, I don't know, let's make up a company A. And company A had like a monopoly on the market, and they were the only ones that you could buy aquariums from. And let's say their aquariums cost $1,000. If their aquariums cost $1,000, many people wouldn't be able to keep aquariums, and it would reduce the amount of people into the hobby, which would suck. Now let's say there's another company, company B, that sells aquariums at a much lower price, reducing the barrier for entry and lets more aquarium keepers into the hobby. This is great because it'll allow a lot more people to get into the hobby, and those new people might eventually switch to company A in the future if they want a higher end or more expensive aquarium. But having that low margin and that low cost gets a lot more people in the hobby, and that's what I like about these lights. It allows more people to get new fish tanks, and honestly, if it wasn't for these cheaper lights, I probably won't have as many aquariums as I do have today. So I am very thankful that there are these smaller brands out there to provide a smaller cost to new fish keepers that might eventually upgrade to Fluval or other branded lights. I believe Fluval is one of the highest end and highest rated lights. There are a couple different like modular lights and other interesting features, but for the standard first-time aquarium keeper, those aren't really necessary. I am probably going to be upgrading to a Fluval Light in the near future, but who knows. In the end, I would recommend, if you are a first-time aquarium keeper or you're just trying to live at a budget, to get cheaper lights, especially if you're keeping very low maintenance plants, or if you're not even keeping plants in general, because honestly, fish do not require a super high-end light. Fish don't really need that to live. It's good to keep them on a cycle where you have a night and day for feeding times. And also, interesting fact, goldfish, if you don't have a light at all, they will turn white. This is an interesting fact, so hit the like button for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment if you have any questions, and I hope I explained this in a very interesting way. This doesn't go to all filters. I'm sure there's some knockoff, horrible, really bad filters or lights that might end up breaking, so I recommend you reading the reviews for those. I'll leave the link for the Sun canister filter and the light that I have in this aquarium, because those are products that I've personally used and I personally know they work very well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace. Wow.